The HMDCC app is available. I've got it installed. It's up and running. I can even run it off the Elite as well. And if you want, it's available for the Select and the Elite too. What do I think of it? How does it sound? How did I connect it? How did I download it? How did I get the picture right? How did I get the right sound files into the Loco, the Mallard, to do this TT120 video? Let's find out. Give us a thumbs up and please subscribe. It won't hurt the bank balance. Let's get the show on the road. Hi, my name's Andy and this is my channel Modeloco for all things model railway. Today we're looking at the HMDCC app. I've got it downloaded, I've got it running, got the Elite connected to the track. So let's have a closer look. And if you want to find out how to add a Bluetooth Sound Decoder or one of the new Hornby Bluetooth decoders, then I did a video in Modeloco ML10. All my videos have numbers at the end of them so you can easily find them, so it's ML10. Let's have a closer look at the app itself. Hornby hobbies are on fire at the moment. Let's dive in. So the first thing to look at is if your device or gadget is compatible, and at the moment it's available for iOS only. The Android version is coming soon, so it'll work on an iPad, should work on an iPhone, but of course not on a Mac. I've got an iPhone 6 and it's quite an old iPhone, to be honest, but I like having a headphone socket. The app downloads to the phone, but when you try to load the app, it just goes to a black screen and it doesn't load. So that being said, I'm going to use the iPad Pro, but if you need to use an iPhone, I would recommend you using a modern one. Right, next, go to the App Store, and I just typed in HMDCC, and you can see the HMDCC app is there with a little cloud badge under it, and you just download that, the revolutionary digital control system from Hornby Hobbies. So once you've done that, and there's all the reviews on there, it's got 5 out of 5 so far. Don't know how many people have rated it. Oh, 5 ratings. Well, that was today. It's probably gone up a lot more since. So yeah, word of warning before you start, this is a bit of a battery sapper installing and sorting all this out. So once it's up and running, fine. But while it's installing, yeah, charge your battery and even plug it in at the same time. As you can see here, I've downloaded it to my iPad Pro. It's the first iPad Pro that was released, so it works fine on that. I've got no issues with it at all. Boot the app up, allow it to access your Bluetooth, and make sure your Bluetooth is turned on in your settings so it can communicate with the decoder. And the first thing you'll come to once the HMDCC screen has flicked up is the login screen. On this screen there's some tutorials. You can choose a backdrop, whether you want a black backdrop or a standard or a light backdrop, but you can do all that later. And you can look at the tutorials. At the moment there's just 2 on the YouTube channel, Hornby's YouTube channel, but the app will take you straight to them, or you can look at YouTube from your Mac or whatever you want to do separately. It's up to you. First setup video is very good, it's very straightforward, but it doesn't quite go to plan. Well, it didn't for me at least. Anyway, I'm going to show you what I did. Right, so now what happens next is you're going to have to log in, and that means you're going to need your Hornby account email that you used and your password to get into your Hornby account. If you haven't got one, go to their login register page and you can form one there. Once you've got that, you can then log in and sign in on the app, okay? The initial thing that my iPad Pro needed was a firmware update and an APROM firmware update as well. Essential updates are required before using on your device. So I managed to get a few screen captures of that before it updated. So yeah, once you've got that, you start the updating, yeah, and then it will come on screen, updating the firmware 0%. It does take quite a while, updating 6%. Get your Wi-Fi on, make sure, you know, you've got your Bluetooth turned on as well. I don't use my Bluetooth if I'm not using it. I turn it off because I think there's enough gadgets giving enough EMF off as it is. So yeah, installing 2 of 2, and yeah, 11 minutes, 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes it can take. And then what you need to do is link your device. To do this, you need a powered track. It can be on your layout. It doesn't need to be a programming track at all, not with this app. So you put your Loco on the track, and also you'll need your Bluetooth decoder fitted into your locomotive, whether it's a TT120, an N-scale or a 00. So whatever you've fitted it to, and these decoders are now available, and I have put a video out there, like I said, on how to put these decoders into these locomotives, the TT120 ones. They've already got a speaker in, so all you need to do is put the decoder into the locomotive by removing the tender. Every locomotive is different, and so, but the decoder's now on sale, and there is a video there to help you. Right, that one said, you put it on your track and you power your track up. And of course, you don't have to use a Hornby Elite controller, but if you've got a Select or an E-Link as well, that's great because you can combine the two and you can work them together. I've more about compatible controllers and transformers and stuff in TT120 Part 3. You can see the video in the top corner. So find that link. You can't click on it, but you can find it and it's chaptered and you can see all about that in that video. There's no dongle available yet, and we discussed that in TT120 Part 3 as well. But when that does come available, they'll both interact. At the moment, you can select to use one or the other. It's fantastic. So I'm really glad I have got an Elite. More about that in a short while. As you can see on the screen, I've toggled that screen so it now shows a little label on the app itself to say I'm connected to the Elite, and then you can operate functions from there and drive your train from that, and then go back to the other. As long as you've selected on the Elite the same channel that you've programmed in your app. So I made sure on the app I programmed it to 31 because I've 00 engines on the Elite up to and over 20. So 20 of them channels are filled with trains in my 00 collection. Past 30, I've dedicated that to TT120 locomotives. So I just programmed the channel on the app to channel 31. I'll show you how to do all this in a minute. And as long as I select that then on the Select, or in this case on the Elite, the same channel, then boom, you're in business. Either running it on the app or toggle it across in the app to DCC control. That little message comes on the screen. I mean, you don't have to do all that. You can just plug your transformer straight to your track and just use the app. Anyway, that said, let's get on back to the setup program. You've got your train on your powered track, whichever form you're using. With me, it's the Elite. So you've got that on, it's running. Your Wi-Fi's on, your Bluetooth's on. You've downloaded the app onto your gadget. It's working, it's compatible. We've gone through all that. You start the scan. It will find the devices where, in this case, it's been very quick. I've only got one device, which is the sound decoder in the Mallard that I've fitted. So you click on that, it does a little bit of singing and dancing, and this next bit was all where it started to go just a little bit wrong for a while, and a few strange messages came on the screen and I sort of dismissed them. I'm actually not sure what I did. I think I just rebooted the whole thing and it worked. But of course, then I've just got a locomotive with a Bluetooth decoder in with some steam sounds on. They're not applicable to my locomotive. And for me, I've got a Mallard, so I wanted the A4 sounds. So then went back into the app and began to install them onto the decoder. Then I had to go through this linking process again. It's certainly a different kettle of fish to Railmaster. Railmaster did have some issues. And this is on a Mac as well, so hallelujah. For all the Android users out there, I know you might be waiting this time, but I waited 5 years for Railmaster to go onto Mac and it never did. So that little issue doesn't worry me none, to be honest, having gone through Railmaster. But anyway, you might not get any issues, and if you don't, all well and good. But when you come to downloading some new Loco Sound Profiles to the decoder to suit your locomotive, then you'll need to go through these next steps, which I'm going to explain now and where we pick up from. So it's resetting the device now, and what it will then ask you is to reset the passcode, and this can be found in the device manager on the app, or as in my case, because it's now linked, and it will be in your case too, to your Hornby account, Hornby will then email you with this email. Now, I've scrubbed out my passcode, but where it says HM7000, after that, there'll be a passcode for your decoder. And it will then, once you tap that into the reset passcode box on your app, it will start resetting the device again. Now, the next sign that comes up is for you to power cycle your decoder. So you remove your locomotive from the track. If it's a normal Loco, wait 5 seconds. If it's got a power bank built in, you might have to leave it up to 60 seconds before you place it back on the track. And when you restart the scan this time, instead of resettable devices, you get a ready to link notification from the decoder. So you click on that and it does its singing and dancing once again. And this time it's ready to go through. So it will then ask, profile detected, would you like to fetch and import the latest locomotive profile function map? And you press yes, and you're in. Your train can now be controlled via Bluetooth. So this is the first settings page. It's data and its settings. You can see them highlighted in yellow at the top left and the bottom right. So this is where we can add an image, for instance. So if you press edit, import, and we can import an image. And I've downloaded a photograph from Hornby's website for the TT120 Mallard, so I'm going to use that, and that imports the image onto the screen because I've got the Mallard and I've also imported the Mallard sound files. So this is just a very basic introduction, and then basic information, Loco address. Well, it can go from anywhere between 1 and 9,999. I've put mine, as I said, at Loco address 31, and I'm going to call this my TT120 Mallard. Okay, so that's that done. We've named it. Then next down, you can go between Bluetooth and the DCC track fed Elite, but that Bluetooth, it's, you know, over the airwaves. I'm not going to go into the acceleration and deacceleration rate. That's already set, and you can play around with that and your global volume for the sound on this here, and that's set around, you know, when you get it through. But you can mess around with that if it's too high and you've got a lot of locomotives running. You can bring it down or send it up or turn it right off altogether. So it's up to you. So we'll just put it around 104, eh? And then if we go on to the functions, that is where you can label all your functions. I've labelled number 1, and you can label any function you want, number it and all sorts. And then if we come out of there, we can go to the bottom toolbar, and now you can see that that little joystick on the bottom left is meaning that we're on the control screen. Okay, so just put a photograph on there, track layout there. You can link your devices there, which we've already done. So I've got my address number 31, my Loco address 31 is the TT120 Mallard. I'm on the control screen, and now I can turn the sound of the Loco on. You can hear it behind me. Blow a whistle. That is a long whistle, but that is the Mallard whistle. And we can also bring it up a little bit if we want. The volume, the global volume, and it starts to rise. It starts to reprogram the decoder for the sounds. So we've got it a bit louder now. Go back onto the brake squeal, cylinder cock, coal shoveling. And the mic's a fair way off. But as I say, you can manage the volume. Locomotive settings, that's the important screen where you go straight into your settings. And then you can set your train off, of course. Here. So that's it. It's going in reverse at the moment. So you can brake it like that. By holding it down, it just brakes. Let go and it starts again. Stop. Stops it, obviously. Direction change. Press there. And then we can bring her up again. Give a whistle. And you're up and running, you know what I mean? There she goes. Bit of wheel slip. That's it. Just brake her. And then let go of that. It really is, once you've sat down with it for about a couple of hours, it becomes very intuitive, and I really do hope this helps you get into it even quicker. So we're just going to stop it there. We're not going to do a slow stop. Just turn that off. Page 3, even more lighting and stuff like that, and all the different functions. But we're back on page 1. So yeah, locomotive settings. So now we're going to try and go into how did I get the Mallard sound files into the decoder, because the decoder just comes with bog standard steam sounds that aren't applicable to any particular locomotive. We go into locomotive settings, scroll down and browse profiles. When we load profiles, we can see all the different. We'll just go back here a minute and turn that sound off. There we go. So when we go back into settings now, it remembers the page that you've been on. You can scroll through all these and find your train. Mine was the A4. And you can install those locomotive profiles, and you can go through what we just did to update the decoder. And that's how you get those profiles and those sound files into your locomotive. Any questions at all, you ask me and we'll have a look at that. There's obviously going to be a lot I've missed, so don't forget to comment. And this has just been a very quick look at the HMDCC app. All I'm going to do now is film me coupling up with a coach and a couple of rolling stock that I've just got. Little fuel wagon and a brake van. The fuel wagons seem to be all out of stock already. And we'll see if we can do that, bring around the track to finish with. Hopefully this helps you. And please subscribe and give us a thumbs up to help me, help you and help others as well. Okay, so here we are. And if I now tap that, we get the sound of the Loco. I can also, we're quite cozy in this corner, come off that, go into locomotive settings, or we can toggle at the bottom between settings and control, go into locomotive settings and put that onto DCC. And if I've got this, which I have, on the same loco address, I can now control the train with this, the Elite. But we're here to look at the app today, of course. So if I come out of there now and I go back onto Bluetooth, the sound disappears. Go back onto control and then turn the sound back on here. If I now toggle between the two, the sound will stay on because the sound's on there and the sound functions on that at the same time. But we're now using that to turn the sound on off rather than the app. So when I come back onto Bluetooth, the sound will start again. Back onto the control screen, and we can lift this. This should send the Mallard into reverse, which it does. So we're now coming round, move the chair out the way, to pick the carriages up. Well, let's see how successful we are. using the app. And stop. Not bad for a first time. Has it linked them? Let's find out. App back up again, give us a whistle, and away we go. This is getting fun. I haven't even got all the dropper wires on, only 2 clipped on, so if none of that. Can then go onto the settings page, go over to DCC, and it will stop. Sound will go off, sound back on. And continue on our journey via the Elite. Or swap back over onto Bluetooth. And we accelerate. Swap back over onto the Elite. Swap back over onto Bluetooth. And stop. Dent station as it's been built. Perfect. So back out now on this lovely sunny day. She comes round. Full whack. Let's go full whack, eh? And she's really flying. Brake. And we can stop. Change direction. Go back onto the DCC control. Inactive. And active. So we can turn the app off altogether. And of course it's picking up from where it left off on the Elite, which was on. So, still whistle there. So now we're under Elite's control. Don't need this at all now. And you've got the beauty of having both, you see. There, bringing her to a halt. The HMDCC app connected with the Elite and a TT120 Mallard with the right sound files in concludes our show today. So, that said, give us a thumbs up, please subscribe, it helps the algorithm and helps you, help me, help others. Is that how it's said? I don't know. But now, a well-earned brew and a nice piece of homemade blueberry cake. Let's have a look. Let's turn those sounds off, eh? I don't think the cake's going to last long. Anybody for a piece? Homemade blueberry cake and a cup of some tea. Would you like to come in and just show us the brew?